So you weren't born rich, but you were born with hustle, instinct, and the scrappiness that money can't buy. You probably grew up flipping survival into strategy. So now it's time for you to start doing it on purpose. So, what does being resourceful look like? It doesn't necessarily mean that you had resources or that you have them or that you have people to turn to that can be leaned on as a resource. Resourcefulness is different. Resourcefulness is knowing how to stretch $20. Did you, when you were a kid, you went to the corner store maybe with $5 that you scraped together with your bestie, and you were like, all right, we're going to make this work. We're going to share a soda. We're going to get 2 bags of chips, and we're going to split a chocolate bar. That's resourcefulness. That's being scrappy. And when you grew up the way that I grew up, I'm sure the way many of you grew up who are watching this video, you know what that feels like. You understand exactly what I'm talking about, because resourcefulness means learning how to figure things out. You learn how to problem solve. Your parents weren't there to solve your problems for you. You had to figure it out on your own. And even if it was a problem for you, it's not a problem for them. They're probably working. They don't have time to deal with how you're going to watch a movie on Friday at the movie theater. They don't have time to deal with how you're going to get the latest and greatest pair of sneakers. You got sneakers on your feet that work just fine. You don't need new shoes. But we figure it out, we build, we fix, we learn, we sell without a roadmap. We just figured out how to do those things because we have to. That's what scrappiness is about. I'll give you examples of things that I was like, wow, I'm a pretty resourceful, scrappy person. I learned how to DIY my first website. Did I want to do that? Hell no. Did I enjoy it? Hell no. If somebody asked me to do that today, they would probably have to pay me a lot of money to do it for them. And I'm not a web designer, so it wouldn't even come out, spectacular. I just learned how to do the bare minimum, and I DIY'd my first website. Why? Because I couldn't pay anyone to do it for me. I had to learn how to do it. Who's going to do it? Me. I'm going to figure it out. I don't like designing a website. I'm not a web designer, but I'm not an idiot. How hard could it be? It's pretty hard, but I figured it out. Learning skills on YouTube instead of paying for courses. Favorite way, chef's kiss, favorite way to get educated, YouTube University. Or when I pursued my digital marketing certification through Google, the platform that I used actually had a financial aid service. They had a financial aid route that you could take to essentially get these certifications for free. Not only was I going to make sure that I could get these things for free because I just got fired and I needed to acquire new skills without breaking the bank, not only did I make sure I was going to get those things for free, but I was so extremely and eternally grateful for it, because learning those skills and being able to get those certifications I knew was about to change my life. So I didn't take that for granted. Everything in my life that I have done to build my future piece by piece has been done with a level of scrappiness, with a level of resourcefulness, with a sprinkle of DIY in it, because that's just what you do when you know it's what you have to do. And even now, through all of the success that I've found, I really am only beginning to scratch the surface. And I know that there's so much more for me to go. So I can step back and be so proud of how far I've come, and so proud that I will never, ever have to find myself in positions that I was in maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But I know that there's so much more to go. And the fact that I am a scrappy and resourceful person makes me confident that I'm going to go so far in life. I just know it. I just feel it in my bones. But what I want you to understand is that your resourcefulness is currency. It's not something that you should be embarrassed about or ashamed of. Resourcefulness really is currency. It's a skill. It's not just representative of a struggle. Rich people hire resourceful people to do things for them that they don't want to do or figure out themselves. Entrepreneurs are resourceful people because they learn how to figure things out themselves. And guess what? You already have a lot of the traits that people pay to develop, like adaptability, initiative, creative problem solving, grit. Which, by the way, in my opinion, you cannot gain the trait of grit without actually going through some shit. But that's a topic for another day. So I don't want anyone who feels like they have had to be super resourceful in their lives. I don't want you guys to feel like you're behind, because it's not necessarily the case. I felt in a lot of ways that I have always had to start from behind the finish line, when now my perspective on that has kind of shifted. Like growing up the way that I have and not having things easily accessible at my fingertips, it made me well equipped to deal with a lot of the problems that I face now in adulthood. You didn't grow up with a trust fund, but all of that scrappiness, resourcefulness, learning how to problem solve, that's like training for entrepreneurship. And the mindset that gets us through those hard times, especially as kids, that's the same mindset that you will use to build your business. That's where the grit comes from. You have a toolkit full of traits and accessories and all these things that you can use readily available to you to start whatever it is that you want to start. If you've ever had to figure out how to make shit shake when the odds were totally stacked against you, you have everything that you need to start winning the game on purpose right now. If you can finesse your way through the struggle, imagine what you can do when you actually give yourself a shot.